Hello, grade 6 teachers. Today we're going to look at 6.NS.3.7, unpack the standard a little bit, look at what you could be doing in the classroom as well as what the students should be doing, and anticipating some misconceptions and how to address those. So let's get started. So for 6.NS.3.7, the big picture is understanding ordering and absolute value of rational numbers. And so it's very much a conceptual standard. Within that, we have 4 parts. We need to interpret statements of inequality as statements about the relative position of two numbers on the number line. We need to write, interpret, and explain statements of order for rational numbers and context. Understand the absolute value of a rational number as its distance from 0 on the number line, and interpret the absolute value as magnitude for a positive or negative quantity in context. And then distinguish comparisons of absolute value from statements about order. So again, there's a lot to that, and hopefully we can break it down and make it more understandable for you. So unpacking 6.NS.3.7, it really focuses on understanding the ordering and the absolute value of rational numbers. Understanding the meaning of absolute value as a distance from 0 on the number line. Understand that the absolute value of a negative number increases, the value decreases. So again, as the absolute value of a negative number increases, the value of the actual number decreases. Interpret absolute value as magnitude for a positive or negative quantity and context. And emphasis placed on comparison of rational numbers using inequality symbols. So some things you can do. First, use models such as number lines, thermometers, back to the banking profit losses, that focus instruction on ordering and inequalities. Have students create and write their own real-life scenarios of two rational numbers and be able to compare those. How students write inequalities to represent situations. Lead students to discover the absolute value or magnitude of a number as the distance from 0. Again, we want them to be able to explain or justify and discover that on their own. Provide real-world scenarios where students use absolute value of numbers to answer the questions. And then create multiple experiences for students to understand the relationship between numbers, absolute value, and statements about the order. So some things students should be doing. They need to order rational numbers on a number line. They need to be able to compare rational numbers using inequality symbols and justify orally or in writing the inequality symbol used. And so again, that's an opportunity for Math Practice 3, where we have them justifying orally or in writing. Understand, compare, and interpret rational numbers found in real-world scenarios. Discover that absolute value of a rational number as its distance from 0 on the number line. Model absolute value with number lines and correctly use absolute value symbols. They need to interpret absolute value in real-world scenarios and then explain the reasoning behind the value of negative rational number decreases, its absolute value increases. So anticipating some student misconceptions and how to address those. So some students may incorrectly place negative 1 and 2/3 between negative 1 and 0 here instead of between negative 1 and negative 2. It's a common misconception, and especially when they're trying to place, they just mix up the value of that number, especially negatives. And so one way to address this is to have the students order the opposites. And so if this is positive 1 and 2/3, it would lie somewhere about here, not exact, between 1 and 2, closer to 2. And so that's between 1 and 2. And so the opposite of that should be true as well. And so if we have negative 1 and 2/3, it should be, here's negative 1, here's negative 2, somewhere in between there, closer to negative 2. And so it should be somewhere about right here. And so we could actually place that point. So again, use of the number line. Anytime students have misconceptions for the standard, definitely break out the number line and have them concretely go through the experience. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me or your regional specialist, and thank you for making PascoMath more awesome.